Welcome to another episode of Learning with Legos, where fun and play meet. I'm your host, Kyla Miller, and today's Learning with Lego is brought to you by Lego Education. So welcome back, everybody. Today's a special topic and one of my favorite. It's gears. Gears are a simple machine that are used to transfer power, and what makes gears special is that they're wheels with teeth, making them extremely strong and very versatile. I like gears because they're also in cars, and they can make things go really fast, and they're super strong, very durable, and very versatile. So we're using spur gears today, which is the most common type of gear, and it's used to transfer power. What I like about spur gears is the teeth of the gears fit together, and whenever they do that, it's called meshing. So gears that are meshed together, they spin in opposite directions, which is really cool to look at. So we're going to be using our sturdy base, and within our sturdy base, we want to make sure that we built it properly so that way we've got an open area for our hand to go ahead and move our gears today. If you have not already built a sturdy base or do not know how to, please visit our video for building a sturdy base. Now we're going to flip it around real quick just so we can go ahead and build our model. It's very imperative that we make sure that this is done correctly, so that way we can make sure everything's good. Now to do this, I'm actually going to go ahead and get out my Lego Education set. I'm using the one for the simple machines right now, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a 16 long beam. And how do you know it's a 16 long beam? I'm using the ones with the holes, not the solid ones, the ones with the holes. And so whenever we go to count this, we're going to make sure that we count the bumps on the top of it. And this is imperative. You do not need to use a 16 long, but you need to use something longer than 6. So as long as we're making sure we count the bumps on the top, as shown here, we can go ahead and get that started. We're going to grab our axles, and these are measured just like the beams are by the bumps. So we want to go ahead and make sure we get a 6 long or longer and stick it through one of the holes in the middle. It doesn't have to be any particular hole, but as long as it's not on the edge or hovering over one of our bricks, they won't be able to turn as our gears mesh together. So it's very important that we go ahead and do that. And once I'm done with that, we're going to go ahead and flip around our sturdy base to access the back. All right, now we're going to grab a bushing, and these are very important that we make sure that we use these, because these are what's going to keep our gears in place in the front. And these are usually put on the back, and they can be used as pulleys as well. They're very sturdy, very firm. So when you go ahead and put your bushing on the end, you're just going to go ahead and slide it all the way to the beam itself. So whenever you do that, slide all the way to the beam, make sure it is securely in there. So that way when we add the gears, nothing will move. All right, we're gonna go ahead and grab an 8-tooth spur gear. We're gonna go ahead and put that on the axle as well. Now, how do we know if it's 8-toothed? Well, that's simple. It's going to have 8 little spikes coming off of it, and that's the teeth on these guys. So we're going to go ahead and put that together. Just squeeze it like so, and then we're going to make a second one. And once you're done making the second one, we're going to go ahead and continue on. Now, mine has a little black line on the top of it, so we can use it later for our gear ratios and other fun gear activities. As you see here, we've got both those little guys ready to rock and roll. So make sure those teeth are nice and tight in there, and you should be able to see them move, wiggle back and forth, but don't worry about that. That's what they're supposed to do. All right, so what we're going to talk about here is, as we've got two of our gears together, we actually have a two system setup. So we've got 3 gears up on the board, but we only have 2. We'll be dealing with 3 later. So we've got 3 names for them: the driver, the idler, and the follower. Now the driver is the one that you or a motor is turning. So if you go to build a car and put a motor on it, that will be the one that is doing all the work. That's the driver. He's leading the way. Now the idler, he doesn't really do much, but he does help with transferring power from the follower and the driver back and forth as need be. And then we've got the follower, and it's the gear that does a lot of the work. So say if I attached the driver gear to a motor and I had the motor going and I needed the idler to connect it to the follower wheel that is on the wheel, like the wheel of the axle of a car. So that way the idler is transferring power from the driver to the follower, so that way my car can go, 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 go. So while the idler may seem a little useless, he actually does have a role and function. So we're using the 2 system setup. So we've got 2 kinds of drivers here. We've got a small driver and a large driver, and then a large follower and a small follower. Now if you do a small driver and a large follower together, the follower is going to move a lot slower than the driver. But if we have a larger driver and a small follower, that driver is going to be moving a lot faster. And we'll see this later when we explore different types of gear trains and gear ratios. But for right now, ours being the same size, I don't think we'll have to worry about moving one faster than the other. So for us, we're just going to go ahead and keep with our 2 8-tooth spur gears, and let's watch how those operate together. Everybody go ahead and give your ears a little turn, make sure they are working, and identify which one you want to be the driver and which one you want to be the follower. So my driver is the one with the black line on top of it, just to kind of show you that it's doing the work and that it's turning around. And since these both have 8 teeth, you know, one of them should be making a circle at the same time that the other one does. They should be simultaneous since they have the same amount of teeth. They're going to be turning the same amount of times. So everybody go ahead and identify your driver and follower and make sure you know which one's which, because we're going to be looking at that and it's going to be super useful down the road whenever we get to these ginormous 40-tooth spur gears with our 8-tooth spur gear. It's going to be lots of fun. So everybody just go ahead and which one is your driver and which one is your follower. And then go ahead and start turning. As you see here, mine are turning, and mine's at the top, and it made it 1-to-1. So now we're going to look at gear ratios, which is what I was talking about earlier with your drivers and your followers. Now this seems like it's a bit of a scary topic, but it's not that bad. So everybody go ahead and see how yours turns around in a 1-to-1. So when your driver completes 1 circle, so does your follower. As we see here, mine is right back at the top, and my followers only made 1 too. And I hope nobody's getting anything different. If so, we might have a bit of a problem here. So let's go ahead and actually pull out a 24-tooth spur gear, and we're going to change it out. So go ahead and take off your 8-tooth spur gear, that was your follower, and let's go ahead and put on a 24-tooth spur gear. And we know this because it's going to have 24 little teeth on it. Now while you're doing that, we're actually going to talk about gear ratios, where the number of teeth on the follower is divided by the number of teeth on the driver, which is why we needed to make sure we knew which one was the follower and which one is the driver. So in this instance, our 8-tooth spur gear that we've got on ours is going to be the driver, and I have a 40-tooth spur gear attached to it. Now the follower is my 40-tooth spur gear, so if I did 40 divided by our 8-tooth spur gear, I'm going to get a 5-to-1 ratio, which means that the 8-tooth spur gear is going to turn 5 times before our 40-tooth one turns even once. So our A is going to turn 5 times before our B turns once. I mean, that's crazy. You can see all the teeth interlocking and count it. I mean, try it with the ones that you've got together now. See how many times you think that they're going to turn. And then we're going to go ahead and pop up another example, and we're going to go ahead and see if you guys can figure it out. How many times can your 24 turn with your 8? And the answer is 3 times. Your 8-tooth is going to turn 3 times with your 24 only turning once. Now if we reverse this and made our 24-tooth spur gear our big driver,
and we did our A-tooth as the follower, we would have to turn our A1 would have to go around once, and our small A-tooth would go around 3 times. So we're reversing that a little bit, and you'll see that the follower is going to be going crazy, just turning and turning and turning and turning and turning. It's madness. So go ahead and try that with your guys's and see if that's correct. Tell me, did you get that 3 times for your 8-tooth to the 1 time for the 24-tooth? Go ahead and give that a little go. We're going to see it demonstrate up here on the board in just a minute. Alright, so mine's going around. We're going to see it going. So as you see right here, I've got my black labels up and everything's ready to rock and roll. So make sure that yours looks something like this. Obviously you guys aren't going to have the black markers on it like mine does, but that's okay. You can use your eyes and use your best judgment. You know, I usually like to use the side with the number on it at the top, where we see that Z24. I'll usually put that at the top if I don't have a marker and kind of see what's going on. So is everybody getting it to go around 3 times while your larger one only goes around once? Awesome. So let's go ahead and kind of see this in action. We're going to talk about how we know it's going to be a third. So what's going to happen is my guy's going to turn and we're going to see it go. I'm going to stop it right about here. And then we're going to talk about it. So my 8-tooth spur gear has been around 1 complete time, but my 24-tooth spur gear has only been around about 1/3 of the time. So we can see here that that rule is going, that my driver, which is my 8-tooth, has gone around 1 time, whereas my 24-tooth spur gear, which is my follower, it's turning slower like we had talked about earlier. It's only gone around 1/3 of the time, and I divided that gear up into 3 portions for you so you can kind of see what's going on. And then we're going at it again, and then it's going to once again break apart into 3 pieces, and my 8-tooth is at the 2nd round, and then my 24-tooth has only been the 2nd third away. So it's 2/3 of the way around, and my 8-tooth has gone around it twice. And here we go, we're just going to go ahead and bring it right back up to the top with 1 more complete cycle, and they're both at the top now. So we see that the gear ratio holds true. So my 8-tooth will turn 3 times, and my 24 will turn once. Now, what do you think will happen if we grab one of those big 42 spur gears? I know we had talked about it earlier, but what do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to be like crazy spinning? What happens if we put it next to the 24 tooth? You guys think you'd maybe figure that out? What do we think we'll do with that one? Now I'm just going to go ahead and get my 42 spur gear on. There he is. He's got his little line and everything. He's rocking and rolling. So we see he's going around 1 time, right? So we're going to look at this whenever he gets right back to the top, and whoop, there it is. So my 40-tooth has gone around 1 time. My 8-tooth has gone around 5 times. Or I'm sorry, it's gone around, 5 times. And my 24-tooth here has kind of gone around like 1 and like a 2-ish third, something like that. He's almost to a complete 2. Now what's fascinating here is we actually have that 3-piece setup for a gear train. Now a gear train is 3 or more gears that are strung together to create 1 complete. So how many turns will it take for each one to get to the top? I'm going to show you this video and you guys let me know. What do you think? You see our gear train in action here. We've got the driver, the idler, and the follower. And I'm obviously, you can see my hand over there turning a little bit. Turn my A2 spur gear. Alrighty, and there we are. So we're at the top now. How much do you guys think it turned? Like, take a good guess. How much? Awesome. Thanks, guys. Good job. Well, this has been Learning with Lego, where fun and play meet. And our sponsorship today is brought to you by Lego Education. And I hope to see you guys around. And also, just a heads up, we're about to have some interactive stories coming down on the Learning is Lovely website. So I hope to see you guys there soon. Have a great one. Bye.